Harold, the creator of Project Reveal. Project Reveal is a nonprofit organization whose mission is to inspire women by creating awareness about women's issues and giving them resources so they may be the best for themselves, their families, and their community. Project Reveal's foundation is embracing ourselves, and so we wanted to continue that conversation. So the first episode that we're going to be bringing you is a topic that every woman everywhere can relate to, and that's, what do you see when you look in the mirror? We are given this one body to live this life. And so when we stand in front of the mirror naked and we're looking at ourselves, do we like what we see? And when we have that self-doubt, how do we get out of it? You know, I think a lot of people change their look. They color their hair, or they get a new wardrobe, or they tan. But are we dependent on those things to make us feel beautiful? And when we take those things away, do we still like what we see? The feelings that come with embracing ourselves runs deeper than our skin. And these women that are featured today have the courage and the vulnerability to share their personal stories about these questions. So just take a moment and just look at the photo and then just tell us what you see.
I see a lot of serenity in my face. I see confidence, but it's a very it's playful, and it's sweet. It's not boom in your face. Is the curve from my back to my waist to my rear end. It just goes whoop, and I just think it's super cute. It makes me glad every time I look at it. A lot of people told me, oh, that's so brave. That's so brave that you did that. And I guess I have like the opposite of body dysmorphia, because it didn't feel that brave to me, and I'm not 100% horrified by what I look at in the mirror. I think it's a really cute picture, and I kind of want to hang it up in my house. You know, as I changed size over the years after having children and things like that, it didn't really change the essence of, I mean, I tried to dress like a mom. I tried to dress older, and nothing, I couldn't ever really, everything just kept going back to, it's okay to be glamorous. It's okay to keep wearing red lipstick. It's okay to keep dressing the way you want to dress and have a little bit of flair. But I tried to pick something that kind of looked like an old bathing suit, like a high-waisted bikini thing, which was also for coverage. But, you know, I feel like it got the message across.
Embracing and loving who we are is more than skin deep. And if we're working on ourselves and we love who we are, then sometimes the things on the outside don't seem to matter. And if you have a perceived flaw, somebody else may think it's beautiful.
Are you in your 20s?
No, I'm 34.
34, okay.
Black don't crack.
No.
In the 90s, when I was adopted, very interesting. I was adopted as a special needs child because I was mixed. I didn't have any kind of mental issues, disabilities, or anything. I was mixed, and that made me a disability, and people may not have wanted to have me.
I love my skin color. I always say the darker the berry, the sweeter the juice. And so since mine is pretty dark, I just love my skin. I haven't always felt that way. When I was younger, I would get teased about being dark-skinned, and even so in my family. Some members of my family would call me darky or things of that nature. And you know, it's funny, it never really got to me.
I think my skin tone is pretty compared to, I don't know. I can't compare it to anything really. My husband is dark and my family is light, and I am like a mixture in between.
It was more African Americans. Dark girls are just not in. It was always about being light skinned with the good hair. The dark ones with the afros and stuff, it just was kind of, you know, in the 90s, we just weren't in.
In high school, it was hard because I made up for what I lacked in looks in humor, and my humor was targeted towards my color of my skin majority of the time. And it was a really hard thing to kind of get out of the habit of, because I didn't realize I may not be offending myself, but I might be making other people around me uncomfortable.
My grandfather was very light. And so I always told my husband, I said, hey, when our kids come, don't be surprised that they might be a little bit lighter.
Now, when it comes to my summer look, I think I look great in the summer. I like my skin tone. In the winter, it's okay. But mostly because people don't know exactly what color I am. They don't know. They just assume that I'm Caucasian.
I grew up in Gary, Indiana. And in Gary, Indiana is predominantly black. And so I grew up with different skin tones. I grew up with different attitudes. And so I didn't see so much of it until I went away to college. And so that's where I saw a big difference being made between darker skin and lighter skin. But in Gary, we were all one big happy family. And so I saw that on a regular basis. That was all that I knew, was being around other African Americans.
I was really dark skinned and was made fun of a lot. I was, picked on a lot as a child. I wore thick glasses.
There's always the stigma that if you were lighter, you were more popular, you had more fun, you had the cuter boyfriends, you got better jobs. That was always that underlying tone there. And I think a lot of that probably goes back to slavery days, because you did see during that time where there was favoritism showed to maybe to the lighter skinned African Americans, because they would be considered in the house.
And even today, it's almost as if there's the curse of having dark skin, but it's not a curse. You should embrace it. It's beautiful. I wouldn't want to be anything other than what I am now.
It's cool in a sense, but it's also, at the same time, it's hard. You have to identify yourself with something. There's always a time where you're trying to say, oh, I look like them, or I act like her, or I act like him. It's hard to put yourself in a place when you don't know where you're from. You don't know what you're supposed to be.
I've seen it in my children that skin tone is an issue. My boys will say, oh, I've been out in the sun too long, I'm getting darker. And my response is, what's your point? Your mother is darker. And so they get that from their outside community, because we don't discuss skin tone at home. So they're getting it out in their environment, discussing skin tone, even at 12 and 13 years old.
I think when I turned 30, I came into my skin.
So my parents didn't care about the color of my skin, so why should I care about theirs? So I was raised very well to believe that everybody's equal and everybody's beautiful in their own ways, and that I had to accept who I was.
My mother has always told me I was beautiful. My father always told me I was beautiful, and I believed him. And so that's why it really didn't internalize with me that my darker skin could possibly be a hindrance. I think we allow anything that we want to be a hindrance. And if you don't allow something to hinder you, it won't hinder you.
Most women wear it, and some wear more than others. But makeup can be used to accentuate our beauty or to disguise something on our face that we want to cover up. So we took the word project reveal very literally, and we wanted to reveal what was under women's makeup, and we wanted to see if they were embracing it. Now, some women never wear makeup, and some wear a lot, so we weren't sure how this was going to go, but the producers said to me, why don't we have women show up with makeup on, and then we remove it on camera? And I thought, you're nuts. And I thought, no one is going to do this. But we got 3 brave women to do this and be vulnerable with us. And I was absolutely shocked to see how it went.
My husband came in the bathroom this morning. I'm slathering all this stuff on my face. He said, now, what is it you're doing? And I said, well, it's Stacy, and we're going to take off my makeup and talk about skin and aging and those sorts of things. He said, well, that's really facing your demons, isn't it? Because I complain nonstop about looking like my grandmother and all the wrinkles in my face and yeah. So, I mean, this is a big deal for me, because I don't like to see myself without my little mask on here. But the best way to battle your demons is just to face them head on. So we'll all do it together.
I do wear makeup every day. Well, almost every day. I feel good. I like putting on makeup. I like my eyeshadows, trying different colors. Purple's my favorite.
Well, after I've had my 2 cups of coffee and usually my smoothie and answered all my email and Facebook, then I go to the bathroom and try to stumble through the shower. I use a Clarisonic, the first one they made that has the 1 speed, just kind of cleaning my skin. And then I've been using Clinique products for years. So after I wash all that off, I apply my moisturizers and put my 25 tons of makeup on to make the day. It's just a fact, Jack.
Vitiligo has only started 6 years ago, so I haven't had it my whole life. I've had skin that I was very, very proud of and didn't have many blemishes when I was younger, and just didn't have problems.
Like, I just don't stand out. I'm not as pretty if I don't have makeup on, if that's how I'm feeling for the day.
For my daily makeup, even when I was younger, it was a lot lighter than certainly the theatrical. And then when I was on TV, I just wore the same makeup I put on in the morning, and that was kind of it. I was in my ultra tan period then as well. Just go out there and fry my skin, thinking tan fat looks better than white fat.
It's who I am, and I see myself with even less than what I have on now, and I don't dislike that.
You start noticing, at least I started noticing it because I was working on television in my 40s, where the marionette lines around your face are so much more pronounced, just particularly on a news set where the lighting is for the set and never the people.
It was more self-realization. I realized I don't need anyone to validate me. I validate myself. And how I feel about me, that's all that matters.
And you could hyperfixate on it, or you can just go, well, it is what it is. So I fluctuate between those 2 zones a lot.
Whenever I go out in public and I'm makeup free, I feel okay, but the hardest thing for me to get over is, will I run into someone who will think, oh my gosh, that's what she looks like without makeup? And so then I think that's a weird thing to worry about, but that's what comes to mind.
I'm very confident in myself to where I don't have to compare myself to anyone else. Everyone's unique and different in their own way. And we should just uplift each other and it's not a competition.
What I love about these women is their confidence and their ability to have fun with this. But they were able to talk about how difficult it was at times for them to look in that mirror at their naked face. But when it got right down to it, what they saw was a woman that they accept and love.
So I'm ready. Are you good?
I'm good.
Pretty much 3 different body types, and this is how I've seen myself morph through the years.
So I assume these are their weight. The numbers on these cards are their weight.
We all worry about our weight and the number and all that fun stuff. I'm shocked, as a man, I think, to see that that's 197 pounds. I'm also shocked to see that's 124 pounds.
But I definitely see some beautiful women.
I don't even think they're wearing makeup. They look so pretty. Their skin is beautiful.
I actually know one of the people in this photo.
I mean, it is a little bit awkward to be the big girl in the photo of 3. But I don't have a lot of the crippling misery that a lot of people I know who go through who are much smaller than me, and I don't really know why.
These are some brave women to think, just to put that number down and say, I'm all right with this number. This is what I really am. It's honesty. When you're finally honest, the truth will set you free. And
when somebody's too put together, sometimes I just think, oh my God, that's the old Melanie. What is she hiding? These girls are not hiding anything.
There's probably a crew of people behind them, and to be able to get in your underwear and get up in there and, you know, stand there and big smile on your face. Nobody looks too shy or, you know, nervous about it. So I think that's pretty funny. They look like they're, you know, having fun.
No matter if I was the smallest I've ever been, there was a time in my life that was never good enough.
Part of it is that I have a lot of nice people in my life who tell me that I look nice. And I mean, what a friend of mine's husband saw this picture and he said, she's lying. That's not how much she weighs. She's lying. She weighs less than that. No, I don't. I've gained, I weighed 90 pounds less than this in high school. Okay, I've been everything.
Marilyn Monroe was curvy. Elizabeth Taylor, everybody was so curvy, and it was acceptable. But in the times of social media and all your glamour magazines and everything, and your runway models, it's all about being thin. But thin does not mean happy.
I could definitely get off my butt a little more and do a little more things, but I really like not doing that so much. So, like, it's just not a huge deal to me. I mean, sometimes I get fantasies. I'm like, I'm going to lose all this weight. It's going to be amazing. And then I'm like, who am I doing that for? I'm not doing it for my husband. I don't know if I'm really even doing it for me. If I'm doing it for other people, that's for the wrong reason.
These are beautiful women who have a lot of balls to get up there and do that. I mean, I don't want to hold up a sign that says 228.
What I see is the sense of humor in my eyes and how I'm like, can you believe we're getting away with this? Oh my God.
Granted, it was probably hard for them to do this, but they believe in being a role model and example to help some other women out there, because these are average American women's sizes.
Would I do that? Probably not.
Oh yeah, I think we'd do it if I was with guys I knew. I mean, I think it'd be so awkward all of a sudden, hey guys, let's all get together and let's stand in our underwear and hold up how much we weigh. But my buddies, yeah, I could do that. But no, I mean, and if you guys were in the room, there's no way I'd do it. No way. And then what we all want you to be in the room with us when we don't have any clothes on.
And I don't feel this way. When I look in the mirror at home and when I put an outfit on, I don't feel like the bulges and things are there. Like, I just don't think about them that much.
The more I learn, the more confident I become as a woman, the more I can accept myself at any size or any weight or number.
And we're all are different, and we all are still beautiful. We all are still great. But for me, I want to know mentally, is a person truly happy? This is superficial. But in your secret place, are you truly happy mentally, spiritually?
I think most of the common theme, I think, with my tattoos is a lot of organic nature, birds. I absolutely love birds. This one right here are 3 birds on a wire. I do some photography and I have a lot of photos with birds on wires. I would say that my look has changed in many different ways. When I was in high school, I was very goth, into dark clothing and pale face. And when I was in college, I started following the Grateful Dead, so I definitely took on more of a hippie persona. So I think my style has definitely always been very different than what would be considered the norm. Dandelions right here, and they're blowing. I do look at my body as sort of a canvas for that. One of my tattoos I did in memory of my mother, and actually a lot of my tattoos have a lot of my mom's influence, and my mother hated tattoos. As a matter of fact, my mom would be horrified if she knew how many tattoos that I have. But she'd love me anyway. So, and it's a way that I remember her. So for me, it's a mark in time. This one I got after my I think one of the half marathons, I've done a few. I always pride myself on being a little bit different, and especially somebody who even does public speaking, I always try and have a little bit of an edge. People laugh at me because I still wear patchouli oil, and even though now people don't like it, I like it. I think it smells good. I wear it with pride. Oh, this one's really cool. My son actually did this one. When I turned 40, and he found, he Googled image a lotus, because I love lotus flowers. The interesting thing about lotuses is they grow out of mud. So no mud, no lotus. I'm someone who has dealt with body image issues my entire life. About 4.5 years ago, I lost about 90 pounds, which was a great accomplishment. But with that accomplishment came some more addictive behaviors, I guess, in terms of my eating and the way I perceived myself. As a bird sitting on a musical note, because I love music, and it's a big part of my life, and so she made the musical notes go all the way around the lotus. I have a lot of strategies that I have to use to get through the day. So sometimes it's just recognizing that I'm having a bad day. Sometimes it's reaching out to my best friends and saying, I actually have a name. Her name is Edith. And so when Edith is around, I'll say, I'm having a day where Edith is not being very nice to me. And really, it's just a lot of self-talk and knowing when to reach out to my friends if I'm having a really rough time. Taking walks, exercising, all of those are strategies to tell Edith to go to hell. This is my first one right there that I got in Cincinnati, and that's the Chinese symbol for harmony. Take off my jacket, or when I'm getting into the shower and I'm like, these are really cool. A little bit more conservative, in covering them up, I think it worked. And sometimes people are surprised if they see a peak of a bird or something, and they're like, oh gosh, you have a tattoo? I'm like, yeah. But I do think they're a little bit more mainstream now. But yeah, I definitely think that there's some people out there that are like, oh gosh, when you're 95, what are those going to look like? And I actually really don't care. I think a lot of the tattoos that I've gotten in the last year are about breaking out of that sadness and really becoming exactly who I am. And now I feel like I've become the person who I've always wanted to be.
Project Reveal is all about embracing yourself and being real and being vulnerable. And sometimes when we look in the mirror, we can see the person that we love and accept. And sometimes there's a barrier there and we can have such self-doubt. And we wanted to continue that conversation of just loving ourselves and accepting who we see in the mirror, like these women have today. Visit projectreveal.org, where we have many stories from women just like you who are sharing their experiences and their strength and their hope to validate your feelings and to connect with you, because it's a community of women that are going through this together. Visit our website, give us your thoughts, and we'll see you next week.